At exactly 11 a.m. on November 11, 1918, something extraordinary happened. After 4 years of the deadliest conflict humanity had ever seen, the guns finally fell silent. But why do millions of people around the world still stop what they are doing at this exact moment every year? The answer will surprise you. Every November 11th, something remarkable happens across the globe. In the United States, it is Veterans Day. In the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia, it is Remembrance Day. But here is what most people do not know. These commemorations are not just about honoring veterans. They mark the exact moment when the world's first truly global war came to an end, and the story behind this date is far more dramatic than you might imagine. Let us go back to 1914. Europe was a powder keg waiting to explode. When Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria was assassinated in Sarajevo on June 28th, it triggered a chain reaction that would engulf the entire world. Within weeks, massive armies were mobilizing. Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire on one side, Britain, France, Russia, and eventually the United States on the other. The soldiers who marched off to war in August 1914 thought they would be home by Christmas. They had no idea they were walking into a nightmare that would last 4 years and claim over 17 million lives. This was industrial warfare on a scale never seen before. Machine guns, poison gas, tanks, and aircraft turned the battlefields of Europe into killing fields. The Western Front alone stretched 440 miles from the North Sea to Switzerland, and soldiers lived in muddy trenches facing death every single day. By 1917, the war had reached a stalemate. Millions were dead, and neither side could break through. Then 2 events changed everything. First, Russia collapsed into revolution and withdrew from the war. Second, the United States entered the conflict in April 1917. American involvement brought fresh troops, supplies, and hope to the exhausted Allied forces. Throughout 1918, the tide turned decisively against Germany and its allies. The German Spring Offensive failed. Allied counterattacks pushed German forces back. Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire were collapsing. Inside Germany, sailors mutinied, workers went on strike, and the Kaiser's government was falling apart. By early November 1918, it was clear that Germany could not continue fighting. On November 8, 1918, a German delegation crossed into Allied lines to negotiate surrender terms. They met in a railway carriage in the forest of Compiègne in northern France. The Allied commander, French Marshal Ferdinand Foch, presented harsh terms. Germany had 72 hours to accept or reject. At 5 a.m. on November 11, 1918, the Germans signed the armistice agreement. But here is the crucial detail. The ceasefire would not take effect immediately. It was scheduled for the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Why the delay? Military commanders wanted time to communicate the news to all units along the massive front lines. Imagine being a soldier in those final 6 hours, knowing that peace was coming, but that bullets were still flying. Tragically, nearly 3,000 men were killed or wounded in those last hours. Some died just minutes before 11 a.m. The last British soldier to die was Private George Edwin Ellison, killed at 9:30 a.m. The last American was Private Henry Gunther, who died at 10:59 a.m., just 1 minute before the armistice took effect. Then, at exactly 11 a.m., an eerie silence fell across the Western Front. After more than 1,500 days of constant bombardment, the guns stopped. Soldiers on both sides climbed out of their trenches, unable to believe the war was finally over. Some cheered, some wept. Many simply stood in stunned silence. News spread quickly to cities around the world. In London, Paris, and New York, massive crowds poured into the streets. People danced, sang, and embraced strangers. Church bells rang. It was the greatest outpouring of joy the world had ever seen. But beneath the celebration was profound grief. Almost every family had lost someone. 1 year later, on November 11, 1919, King George V of Britain issued a proclamation. He called for a 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. to remember the glorious dead. The idea spread rapidly. Countries across the British Commonwealth adopted the practice. The United States designated November 11th as Armistice Day in 1919, making it a federal holiday in 1938. During this time, a powerful symbol emerged, the red poppy. Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, a Canadian doctor, wrote the famous poem In Flanders Fields after witnessing the death of a friend. The poem describes poppies growing among the graves of soldiers. Poppies became the universal symbol of remembrance because they were the first flowers to grow on the devastated battlefields of France and Belgium. After World War II, the meaning of November 11th expanded. In 1954, the United States changed Armistice Day to Veterans Day to honor all American veterans, not just those who served in World War I. Other countries maintained the focus on remembering the fallen. In the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia, Remembrance Day specifically commemorates those who died in service. Today, the traditions continue with remarkable consistency. At the Cenotaph in London, the British royal family leads the nation in a 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. Wreaths of poppies are laid. In Arlington National Cemetery, the President of the United States places a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Across Canada and Australia, similar ceremonies take place. Millions of people wear red poppies in the days leading up to November 11th. But what does November 11th really mean in our world today? It is easy to see it as just another holiday, another day off work or school. But that misses the point entirely. This day is about remembrance, yes, but it is also about recognition. Recognition that freedom is not free, that ordinary people made extraordinary sacrifices, that the world we enjoy today was built on the courage of those who came before us. For veterans, November 11th is deeply personal. It is a day when their service is acknowledged, when society says, "We see you, we remember, we are grateful." For families who lost loved ones in war, it is a day when their grief is shared by an entire nation. For young people, it is a reminder that history is not distant and abstract. It is real, it is human, and it matters. So here is my challenge to you this November 11th. Stop what you are doing at 11 a.m. Put down your phone. Step away from your computer. Take 2 minutes of silence. Think about the 17 million who died in World War I. Think about all those who have served since. Think about the world they helped create. And if you can, wear a red poppy. Share this video. Tell someone why November 11th matters, because remembrance is not just about looking back. It is about carrying forward the lessons of history so that future generations might live in peace. If you found this story powerful, hit that subscribe button and share this video. History is not just dates and facts. It is the story of real people, real sacrifices, and real courage. And these stories deserve to be told. See you in the next video. And remember, lest we forget,